Okay. So I'm actually really glad. I actually recorded this video, but I didn't turn on my microphone. It's a good thing I didn't, because it turns out some of the stuff I was saying in my video was wrong. So I get a second chance. Fate has worked with me instead of against me. But despite it, there's still some things that are very important that I have to say. So what inspired this impromptu video was actually a post I saw on Snapchat. And the original post I saw was the lady who I've met a couple times. Does she? I think when I first met her, she was at Walmart trying to spit game. Then I met her again at Walmart and she was grocery shopping. I just said, "Hey, what's up?" So I've seen her a couple times. She's an alright human, in person, but her social media presence is incredibly obnoxious, right? Like it's hilariously obnoxious, it's very, very unbecoming. I'm gonna be honest with you. But she made this post where she was talking about she had an impromptu day. Her boyfriend had offered to go take her to Universal Studios, and just for reference, for people who aren't in Florida, Universal Studios is a theme park in Central Florida. We're from Jacksonville, so that's about 2 hours and like 45-minute drive. About. Excuse me. So the idea of driving 2 hours and 45 minutes just on a whim, kind of suggests that you have money. That's why in her post she is like big dick energy, right? Which I get a little bit. Yeah. I don't care nothing about Universal. I went to Universal Studios twice with my family, and I think the only thing that really meant anything to me was when I was with my family. I don't remember any. I don't remember. There was only one ride I really remember in Universal Studios. That was the Mummy ride. Like I said, the things I remember again in the Jurassic Park ride. The things I remember is being with my family. So I don't care. I can go listen, man. I can go to a park with people I care about and have a grand old time. Now the reason why I wanted to highlight this though is what they're doing, right? Now here's what really inspired the impromptu video. I'm gonna play her story.
Okay, so I'm gonna put this shit in perspective. Like 4 years ago, I was with my ex-fiance, who was a piece of shit. My son's birthday came around. It was my son's birthday party. We invited his family, my family, everybody. He left halfway through the party to go get fucked up at somebody else's house and left me there with all his family. This year, my boyfriend currently is at Walmart picking out birthday presents for my son, who he loves so much. At Walmart picking out presents. My ex-fiance would never. He would have fucking never. Because you know why? My ex-fiance would have been like, oh, that money could be used for other shit. But my new boyfriend doesn't do anything like that. And he's a good man. He's a good man to me and my son, and he loves my son. And I could not be more happy or thankful for the man that's in my life.
Now, I heard that and I thought to myself, I sat there and I thought to myself, and I was like, I actually started laughing at first. First time I laughed, I was like, so you couldn't have just been with that man from the beginning? You had to go through the fire and flame? You had to go through the bad relationship? Come on. So here's the thing. It's a tale as old as time. It's not a revolutionary story. It's not anything I haven't seen a trillion times over. Like, it really isn't. But like, women will have craptastic, awful, stupendously bad relationships that are bad for no real reason. Honestly, relationships that are so neglectful and terrible for no good reason. Honestly. They'll do all this stuff, and then at the end of the awful, terrible badness, you guys didn't see it because I didn't post it, but she had a caption in her video where she was talking about she's so thankful that she waited to find the love that she deserved, right? And it's this interesting idea of deserving and like paying off the pain and the misery that the woman felt. The truth of the matter is, like, everyone does it, everybody, well, I wouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people do it, after they go through something traumatic or bad, and they go through a lot of pain, they want to feel like there's some kind of reward, or there's some kind of meaning to the pain. There's something to justify it, and that's what a lot of young ladies do. The pain that they feel, the justification for their awful, terrible, bad relationships was the fact that in the end they'll get a good one. And I think, to me, the number one thing that kind of, there's two things actually here. There's two problems here actually. Despite its positivity, there's still lots of issues actually. And the first thing that kind of gets me is the fact that so much neglect was needed before you gained an appreciation for the good qualities of man. Why did you need to suffer? Why does your child need to suffer so in order to appreciate people giving and being kind and being just okay and just being decent? Why did it take neglect and misery and pain before you finally was like, hold on, maybe my son should have a father that like invests in him and cares about him and spends time with him? Like, why didn't you think about that before? I have obvious reasons why I didn't think about it before that I have broken down numerous times. It's because, and even now, currently, it's still probably more a battle for validation than it really is a battle to like create a strong family. But a lot of the time, it all just comes to material. It all comes to the cost-benefit analysis. Whatever the cost was being with her ex-fiance, whatever the benefit it was, in her mind outweighed the cost. Until finally she decided to break up with him, or he left her, I don't know. But it's like, why is such pain and such misery required? Why must a woman be broken in like a damn horse? with single motherhood, with poverty, with neglect, with abuse, and I'm not sure if the guy like abused her, but it's clearly neglect, right? With his child. Why is all of this required? Why must we break the woman's will finally before she finally thinks, oh, I could be with a man that's good? And the reason why, here's the thing. And I always say it. I'm a broken record. Why does your son have to have a dad that neglects him? Because, and it's a good thing, presumably, hopefully, they get married and the man stays in the kid's life. Hopefully, I don't know. I can't see the future. Okay, I don't have the Sharingan. Well, the Sharingan mostly predicts what could happen based on the micro movements of the opponent's muscles. Whatever, I'm being a nerd. The point is, he could stay, and she could get married, and everything could be great. I don't know. But it's like, your son still has a dad that neglected him. And again, to be fair to the complexities of reality, maybe her son grows up and says, meh, I don't care about my dad. I didn't need him. I had this wonderful man. We'll call him Steve. I had Steve. It's all good. Maybe. Or maybe he grows up and he resents his dad, and he wonders, why was I not enough for him? Why couldn't he just be there for me? Why do we have to deal with all of this? Which is more likely going to be the case than he just not care about his father at all and just accept Steve. Which again, it is possible. Some kids, they do grow up like that. Their dad is the sperm donor, and the man that raised them is the person they love and imprint on and connect with. It happens, but more likely than not, that's more rarer. What normally happens is the pain of being abandoned and neglected stays for a very long time until it's finally addressed. If it gets addressed, if it gets healed, if the person decides to deal with the trauma. And the thing that bothers me is the fact that it didn't require the misery. It didn't require the pain. This is not something that any young woman should have to put herself through first before she finally comes to the reasonable conclusion that she should just be with a man that's just going to be kind and treat her well. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. You know. Now, at first, one thing I was a little peeved off with was I had noticed that at the end of the day, the woman was still thinking in a very materialistic view, right? At first, right? My first impression was I had noticed that the only thing she really ever, I would say, I wouldn't go as far as say praised, but I guess displayed, was the material gain, right? Or like the sex appeal of this dude, or like how big his dick is and whatnot. I'm like both literally and figuratively. That's a lot. More of the material stuff she got. Again, the trip to Universal Studios. That's what she has always really focused on. And the thing that bothered me in her story was the fact that that's what she focused on again. If you noticed, she talked about how her ex did not give materialistic things to her son, but her current boyfriend did. And my impression was that she's still stuck on the idea of materialism being the most important element that fathers give to their children. And I wanted to say one thing that impressed me that I didn't expect was if when I kept watching her story, she does show the one thing I did want to see, and the one thing I did want to see was Steve interacting with her son, and she did show that, and that's why I'm going to give her a couple of points. She gets a couple of points here because she does say that one, she intends on giving Steve a child, right? Because one thing I had seen a lot with a lot of single mothers is that they'll have one child and then they'll swear off having more children. They'll just be like, okay, I'm done. I'm not having another kid again. And then they'll try to go find a man who's going to be a stepfather to their child. But in their infinite wisdom, they don't think that they should bless this man who would have the strength of character to raise someone else's kid, his own. They see all these great, wonderful qualities of this man who's going to give to their child, but for some reason their brains don't then come, maybe I should reward this man's patience and strength of character and resolve with his own family. A lot of them don't think that. But I will give it to this woman. She did. And my first impression was wrong. I'm glad my microphone wasn't turned on because she did grow. There is some growth here. But despite it all, despite the growth that is here, despite the fact that she kind of finally recognizes that, she should return the investment of good quality, good fathership to a man that has displayed these qualities, it's like, why did the pain and misery have to be sowed first before you finally recognize this? Why did you have to go through the rigmarole? Excuse me. Why did you have to go through the misery before you finally was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be with a good person? And the truth is, it's probably some trauma in her life at some point in time that was never addressed. It was probably just her, being stuck in the loop. And that's what happens to a lot of people. A lot of people, they get stuck in the loop, and hurt people. And then, people, again, they only seek materialistic gain. They only seek things. People want to use other people to get stuff. And it's only finally until after they've been just downright broken in, just beaten down before they finally recognize it. And the thing, and like I said, it's so irksome to me that this all could have been avoided. And of course, here's the thing. Well, I do say, why didn't you just marry that man to begin with? It's like, you can't go back in time. You can't reset. And as a mother, you probably don't want to delete your child from existence, right? After 4, 5, 6 years, you probably don't want to just erase all that time you have with your child thinking that you could have just married this man 6 years ago. I get that. That's reasonable. But to the point, I think what's important and what needs to be, I think what really needs to be pushed, especially from the mother's point of view, from any single mother, from any woman, hold on. But I think the thing that really needs to be pushed, particularly from the single mother point of view, especially to younger women coming up behind them to give back to their community, is this realization that pain, misery, nonsense does not mean that you are rewarded or that you deserve love or that you've done anything or been granted anything, right? Because that's something else that I see here that really irks, that I find very irksome about young ladies, is that they believe that because they went through all this nonsense, that now they finally found the love they deserved. But it's like, no, you idiot. No, you dummy. You probably went your whole life just playing a seal of Orichalcos and sending all the dudes that would have given you that good life to begin with, send their soul straight to the shadow realm. That's what. Let's just be real, and that is what's so irksome to me. It's like there's no way you went your whole friggin' life without ever meeting a good man that just wanted to love you and just wanted to make your life better. Let's just be real. You probably just didn't want him at the time. You probably just put him in the friend zone. You probably rejected him. You probably didn't care. That's probably what would have happened, right? And the thing that gets me is the fact that it's like you finally grasp how wonderful and beautiful it is to have this only after misery, only after pain. So it's like it's not even so much that you really grew to appreciate. It's not really that you really grew in values, you really learned. It's that you're just so broken and distraught and beaten down that now, finally, after all the nonsense is gone, it's sometimes it just kind of looks like you just gave up. Sometimes it feels like it's a little too much of a performance. Like even with the girl here, sometimes it feels it's a bit much. It's still looking for validation on the internet. It's still looking for to have people praise her and give her adulation and whatnot. It still seems that way because which I could say for another time, but it's like from women that a lot of the times. They think that they deserve so much, but the truth of the matter is, you still didn't do anything than show up and be a woman with a big butt. You still didn't do anything but show up and be a pretty woman. You still didn't do anything but just appear as so. Her mind and the growth still didn't occur until after the man bought gifts for her child and after the man sat around and played with her child and after the man showed. It wasn't a growth prior to. She didn't look for it to begin with. It literally just fell into her lap. and that's the issue. That's the thing that bothers me. Is she tripping, fell into it, doing the same thing she was doing before, and she just got lucky. And it's like, but is it really luck? What I mean when I say, is it really luck? It's like when you're an attractive woman. It's one thing if you're not an attractive woman, which we have to discuss one of these days. But it's one thing if you're not a woman that hasn't had so many options and just been bombarded. But when you have been, especially when you're an entertainer or a quote unquote sex worker or internet sex worker, quote unquote. It's like, why did it take so long for you to finally just accept the goodness that was just blasted in your face constantly? Why did it take misery and pain and sadness? Why did your child have to not have his father in his life before you finally say to yourself, before it finally comes down to, wow, this man is playing with my kid and teaching him stuff and he's learning. Wow. I should have had this the whole time. Why? And my whole point here is to say that pain and misery and sadness, first of all, before I even get to the closing thoughts, we still have to just accept the reality that a lot of these choices that a lot of these young ladies are making, again, are not made with wisdom. They're not made with value and intention and virtue. Just to be frank, it's just self-adulation. It's just material. It's just validation. And again, who fits the bill? I'm going to say this all the time. Who fits the bill? Who pays the cost? The children that get made. They fit the bill. They fit the cost. And again, on the one hand, she's still focused on the materialism. So she gets points deducted for that. But at the same time, I have to be fair. I try my best to be fair and to be kind to people. So I'm going to give her some points. She did show that this man is investing in her child. But at the same time, it's like, it shouldn't take a man from outside of your family to come in and heal it. You should have started from the beginning like that. And the problem is a lot of women, they're not going out and telling other young ladies and telling women and saying, listen, you do not have to experience the misery I felt. You don't have to experience the pain. It's always this narrative of wait for what you deserve, wait for the love, you deserve it, you're going to get it, just be patient. It's like, no. There's no, you as a woman need to go out and be kind and be virtuous and be good and then go find that in a man. And then it's none of that. It's just wait. Just wait. Just be patient. Go have experiences. Go have fun. You messed up. You're a single mother now. It's okay. Just wait. It's gonna come. And it's like, yeah, it might come. Of course it's gonna come because you're a woman. But do you really value it? Does it really have weight? Does it really have meaning? And that's the problem that I'm having, because it's still the utilization of males rather than the appreciation and love of them. There shouldn't be a narrative of like deserving love. Love is a gift. Love is something that you should always appreciate being given to. It's never something you should expect. And that's one of the biggest issues I have with a lot of young ladies, is this expectation that they should just get men to just do things and give them something, rather than they should honestly come to terms with the reality. The reality is you didn't do anything to deserve this, to deserve the protection, to deserve the kindness, to deserve this. And it is by grace. It is by whatever sexual power it is. It is by whatever force that is compelling this man's character. He's giving and he's sacrificing to you. And as a woman, that should humble the fuck out of you. You should be grateful. That should be a weight on your shoulders that makes you want to be better and rise up to match that, rather than you sit around and just, oh, I'm just going to wait till I deserve it. I got a baby daddy that neglects my child, but I'm just going to wait because I deserve it. I deserve something good. No. There should be loads more humility and loads more appreciation, especially if a man's going to come raise a child that's not his own. You should be incredibly grateful for that. And I think, it just really breaks my heart a lot when I see this expectation rather than this appreciation that someone is willing to give and sacrifice so much for you. And that's one thing I wanted to highlight. So again, I am glad that, this is one of the rare cases where I've seen a single mother say, I want to have the babies of a good man. Because usually I see single mothers like, I have my kids and then I'm done. I'm going to find another man that doesn't have kids and somehow make it work because that's fair. So I'll give her points for that one. But at the same time, like, there should be a lot of humility. There needs to be a lot more humility in young ladies, in understanding that there is beauty in that humility of understanding that you may not have done anything to earn the love. And it is because you didn't do anything, honor should compel you to become someone that does earn it and does deserve it. And that's the lesson. And that's the thing that's important that I think everyone, even young men, can take away from this. So that being said, I assume if you guys got something out of today's video, and if you did, man, go ahead and click the like button. Make sure you go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comments below. As always, you guys have yourselves a great day. You'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.